Tonight, two Word of Faith Fellowship ministers charged with unemployment benefits fraud. A father and son pled guilty Friday, and now we are talking to one of their former employees. 7 News reporter Brianna Smith with an exclusive interview. Brianna.
Hey, Gordon, the woman I spoke with was a Word of Faith Fellowship member and worked for the Foot and Ankle Center of the Carolinas for 11 years, collecting unemployment benefits for several of them, defrauding North Carolina of thousands of dollars. And she says it was all to benefit the church. She's asked for her identity to be concealed tonight in fear of retaliation.
How do y'all feel about today?
On Friday, Jerry and his son Jason Gross headed into federal court to plead guilty to wire fraud. Their lawyers say their church had nothing to do with their crime.
I don't believe that's the case.
But former Word of Faith members say the scheme was to directly benefit the church monetarily.
I was there anytime the doors were open. I was there.
This woman worked for the Foot and Ankle Center for the Grosses in Forest City for 11 years, a job picked for her by lead ministers, a job she sometimes didn't get a check for.
So I wasn't paid for 6 months, and then Jason came to me and asked me to sign something so I could start receiving unemployment.
When she collected unemployment, she continued to work more than the hours allotted by the government. Details she shared with several federal and state agencies over the past year. An investigation she believes isn't over.
When investigators were talking to you, did they say this is part of a bigger investigation? Did they allude to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, because they would ask me about all the other businesses.
Former members tell me around half a dozen businesses owned by Word of Faith Fellowship ministers are a target of this investigation, a larger investigation the U.S. Attorney referenced last week, noting the Grosses charges were part of it.
It's something I've been waiting on, and we've all been waiting on for a long, long time.
Now, I do want to make it clear in the bill of indictment in the courtroom on Friday, they never mentioned the church. The lawyers for the Grosses absolutely say this is not connected to the church, even though several former members are telling us that this was all directed by high-up ministers.
We should point out, if that name, Word of Faith Fellowship, is so familiar to people, it's because we've done a lot of reporting on the church up to this point.
Yeah, controversial since 1995. Several abusive allegations. We've done story after story about these people who say they've been abused within the church. What's interesting is we've reported on all those abusive allegations, but now it's the unemployment and the fraud allegations that are benefiting charges for these people and guilty pleas. So it'll be interesting to see where these claims take us in a federal court system and how far it goes.
I mean, you alluded to it in this interview with the protected witness here, that there may be more charges tied to this?
We're talking about a half a dozen businesses. Many ministers in the church own these businesses and then employ people in the church. So we'll be interested to see how connected it is.
A potentially major story. Brianna, thank you.